Hello, this is Prince of Somnia, and welcome back to more Let's Play Xenoblade Chronicles. Today we've got a bit of a side quest episode, again, starting off with education-minded Susanna, where we're here to collect a couple of lots of black nectar from Skeeters in Tephra Cave. If you recall correctly, or if you recall at all, I accepted this quest in the episode before the Mechon Assault started, and, well, the previous side quest episode, rather, and made mention of the fact that we can't really do this because we weren't inside Tephra Cave yet. Well, now that we are, I'm going to go ahead and collect these. Now, even though I can trade for them, I'm just showing off how to get the black nectar from the Skeeters here, just to show it off. Generally speaking, if it's something that you can get from a monster, I'll try to collect it from the monster itself, even if I can trade for it, but I won't always do that. It's just most of the time I will. It depends on how irritating monster hunting gets. So, yeah, there you go. But for the black nectars, instead of doing all of this fighting, we can actually just trade with Kenny Rohan, who's usually found in Tranquil Square at 10 a.m., so there you go. Now, for this side quest episode, we'll be covering mostly side quests that are unlocked after the Mechon Assault on Colony 9, but also generally there are a few here that just unlock by having a couple of stars of affinity with Colony 9, so there you go. But anyway, once you collect the 2 lots of black nectar from the Skeeters in Tephra Cave, just head back to Tranquil Square and speak to Susanna. She's right to the south, so it should be really easy to find her. Now, we could accept the quest here from Narane, but that requires us doing something that we don't quite have access to yet, so I'll hold off on it for now. Anyway, over here north of Tranquil Square, we can speak to Francois, who has another quest for us. This is Flattened Flowers. The only requirement here is that it has to be after the Mechon Assault. We need 5 Dawn Hydrangeas from Colony 9, but if you go to the back of the military district, we can actually trade with Kants over here, or Kants or whatever, with at least 1 star of affinity with Colony 9, so basically always. And we could just collect the 5 Dawn Hydrangeas from him, instead of having to wander around outside Colony 9. I generally recommend you do this because Dawn Hydrangeas, in my experience, tend to be quite rare. Once you collect the Dawn Hydrangeas you need, head back to Francois to complete the quest. Our next quest is one we can't quite complete yet, but we can speak to Emmy Leader to receive it right off the bat here. For this quest, you need to have already completed a young captain's request, so make sure you've already done that. If you haven't, take a look at the previous side questing episode to see how to do that, and she'll tell you about her little problem here. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this in the previous side quest episode, but Emmy Leader in particular is one of those NPCs with a pretty lengthy quest chain, so make sure that in every side quest episode where I cover one of her quests, you take a good look at what we're doing here if you want to keep up with Emmy Leader's story. This is a young captain's suffering. So yeah, you need, the Mechon Assault has to be completed, you need to speak to Raoul, you need a young captain's request completed, and you need 1.5 stars of affinity with Colony 9. We're not going to do this yet because we're going to defeat the Wind Vangs, not the Wing Vans, later on. It's in an area of Tephra Cave that we haven't gotten to yet in the story, but will soon. Anyway, on to the next quest here with Monica, who is asking for a certain item that we also can't quite reach yet. This is Romantic Notions of a Girl, and an opportunity to talk about a couple of things. First off, the Tephra drop is in an area of Tephra Cave that we haven't quite gotten to yet, so I'll hold off on doing that until the next episode or so. Second off is that this is the first instance of a quest where we actually have a vision of the future that will show us what happens should we actually complete the quest. So yeah, visions are not quite limited to just in battle or anything like that. They're also part of side quests here. We can actually see what's going on. Also, you may notice that in the comments section is a blacked out portrait. This means that a party member we don't have yet has a unique comment. So I'm going to do the quests anyway because I'm not particularly interested in gathering every single possible comment in the game, but just know that this means that the party member who does have a unique comment for the quest isn't available in the party yet. But anyway, we saw a vision of Monica with Eric and it didn't look too good. I wonder what we could do to avert that future if we so chose. Well, as it turns out, after accepting Romantic Notions of a Girl, Andreas here has another quest for us. This is Romantic Notions of a Boy. You may notice that both of these Romantic Notions quests are timed. It means in this case that one of them will expire if you complete the other. You can't complete both Romantic Notions quests because there is only one Tephra drop in the game. Now you'll see here a vision of Andreas and Monica over here about what happens should they get together. So, there you go. You have a choice now. Do you let Monica get together with Eric or Andreas? That's basically the premise of the Romantic Notions quest line. We'll be making our decision between those two at a later time, not now, because we can't quite get to the Spring of Grief yet. Now, over here by the Weapon Development Lab, we've got Dean again. Now, in order to do Dean's little quest here, you need to have completed Rocco's Heartful request, which we did in the previous side quest episode. This is another little part of the chain, and yet another side quest that we won't quite be getting around to doing in this side quest episode. I just accepted this so we could go ahead and start looking for the items. This is Dean's Shady Request. So the first thing we need to do in order to move on with this quest is to talk to Sonia. If you recall, she's in the commercial district at about 10 o'clock. Now, like I said before, we're not going to be doing this now because we need to collect 2 Shingeckos in Tephra Cave, and even though we could do it now, it'll take a very long time to do so. Anyway, speaking to Lucas over here at the southern end of the residential district will let us accept another quest as long as we've already completed Lonely Nira, which, again, we did in the previous quest episode. There's going to be a lot of these quest chains. This is Pride and Courage. In order to find Nira, we need to take a leap off of the broken part of the bridge south of the central square and swim all the way over here to Hazai Cape. You want to watch out because there's level 70 plus enemies in the water near here, but you should be fine on the island itself. Head on up and speak to Nira to get him back to safety. Once you've done that, return to Lucas and then you'll just have to speak to Mortis and then speak to Lucas again in order to complete the quest. Our next quest is another follow-up, this time with Giorgio. Now, like before with Romantic Notions, we're actually going to get a vision about what could happen should we choose not to help Giorgio out here. You can see that after working so hard, he's just collapsed. But that's no good. We need to help him out here. And doing so will actually give us yet another mechanic here with side quests. Believe it or not. This is overworked and underpaid. There are actually two paths that we can complete here. We can either speak to Paula, his daughter, or we can convince Giorgio over here. I'm going with Route A. Now, depending on which route you take, speaking to Giorgio or Paula, it determines which follow-up quest for overworked and underpaid you actually end up receiving. And I personally want to do the follow-up quest for taking this path instead of the other one. Now, in order to do this path, we're going to need to collect 3 fresh Armu Milks from Armus in Colony 9. The other path would require you to collect 3 Insanity Mints from Tephra Cave, which we can't trade for right now and would take a very long time. Fresh Armu Milks you can also trade with Marcia in the Commercial District for, with at least 2 stars of affinity, which you probably have if you're this far in the game. Or, well, doing this quest in the first place, rather. Once you've collected the fresh Armu Milk, you can return to Giorgio to finish the quest. Alright, now here we have Sesame, our next quest here. Not a follow-up quest this time. I bet you're happy about that one, viewers. This is the plan, preparation. The only requirement for this one is the Mechon Assault has to have happened. Now we need to collect 2 Croaking Brog bags from Singing Brogs in Tephra Cave, but as it happens, I actually already have both of them, so we're just going to complete the quest here, or well, continue the quest. Nick in Colony 9 at 1-star affinity will also trade Croaking Brog bags for you. Anyway, once you've collected the bags, talk to Sesame, then come here to the residential district at 10 o'clock and talk to Betty, then return to Sesame. I don't think I mentioned this, but Sesame is kind of nearish Gemman's stall, where Paula would normally be at 10 o'clock at night. Now, Sesame has a follow-up quest, but we're going to hold off on it for now, and speak to Leopold. Yet another vision quest this time. This is an impoverished critic, which you may notice actually has no real reward. Now don't worry, there is a good reason for this, but first we need to find King Squeeze, who is behind Gemman's stall. If you remember from a young captain's request in the last side quest episode, we found Emmy Leader's subordinate down here. Well, we kind of need to go to the same place, but instead of going to that corner over there, we need to go up the stairs, and King Squeeze will actually be right nearby, next to another NPC who has some generic quests for us. But anyway, speak to King Squeeze in order to get some info out of him. yet another vision about this quest. Now this will actually trigger a second quest, Financial Planning. There's 2 paths we can take, one of which involves gathering Caterpillar poison and then slipping it into King Squeeze's pocket, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do Financial Planning B, which generally tends to make the affinity chart a little bit stronger than Financial Planning Route A. For this one, we need to talk to Sylviane. Sylviane will point us to some evidence that she's actually hidden near Central Plaza. It's past the little breakpoint in the bridge again. That's, by the way, the quickest way into the nearby waters here, and it only opens up after the Mechon Assault. And then just below the Central Plaza is a red item orb with the top secret orders. Once you have those, return to King Squeeze and speak to him in order to show off the information we have. Doing so will complete both Financial Planning, which actually gives you rewards, and the Impoverished Critic, which is kind of what started off the quest. There are some quests that are kind of like that, where it's a quest with like a little bit more meat added to it in a secondary quest. But anyway, that's going to be it for this side quest episode of Let's Play Xenoblade Chronicles. In the next episode, we'll be heading into Tephra Cave. See you guys then!
You